Welcome back to In With Academia. I'm Richard Price, CEO of academia.edu, and I'm so you tuning in. We get to explore a personal, kind, poetic, intellectual journey, one that really digs into the idea of and identity, but in a way that surprises you. I'll be presenting a paper called The Mental Mayflower, Identity, IL, and the Life of the Mind, written Chowdhury, Irad, Ahmed, Siddiky from Harvard University Extension School. Yeah, it's quite a title. As always, my job is to share these ideas neutrally. I'm noting the paper, just walking you through what it's trying to say. So, the question Siddiky takes on feels both big and personal. At the core, what does it mean to have an intellectual and emotional exile, not just a physical one? How do you keep your sense of self, your mental freedom, alive when your physical reality, your political reality is, hostile? Why does it matter? If you ever felt out of place, or like you're in a world, the world around you, maybe this speaks to more than you'd expect. Here's Siddiky's metaphor, a mental Mayflower. Traditionally, the Mayflower sailed from old to the new world, but Siddiky reversed that. Instead of escaping to freedom, he's carrying the ideas, the hopes, the whole liberal human aunts of the United States and Europe into a country where those ideas can be hard to live openly. He draws on his own movement through places like Bangladesh, the US, Europe, and Harvard, and uses all this as a way to ask, how can you mentally build a freedom even when your outside world restricts you? One of the things that jumped out to me, it's not just about being forced to leave your country. Siddiky talks about exile in a bunch of ways, but also temporal, intellectual, organizational. You might home in literal sense, but inwardly be living in another time or jurisdiction. That's a word, but he means these little countries of the self governed inside your mind. Kind of wild, right? So what are his main arguments? A key insight, at least from my neutral outsider perspective, is about creating Siddiky calls a wall as a retreat, but a disciplined experiment in mental. He draws on Thoreau's Walden, the music of Bach, Harvard's classes, even of Wheat Breakfast. The idea is you, the inner building blocks of your identity, your values, so that even if politics want to define you as just this bad stuff, you can say, wait, my experiences, my memory, my education, my music, they make more than he uses his own. Again, not as therapy, but as an act of what he calls transcendentalist self-command. After facing political persecution, 7 months in jail, there's shift, always fighting injustice, also curating inward dignity. Like, you'd be in a permanent state of moral emergency, body-mind just can't do that forever. Siddiky suggests learning retire the revolutionary self, at least sometimes, isn't surrender. It's allowing for survival and, honestly, self-preservation. So the lesson, listeners, maybe it's about carrying your own private Mayflower past your favorite old books or even breakfast cereals, the music you love, wherever go, inside your mind. These things become more than nostalgia. They're ways to assert your own sense of identity, especially when pressure tries to reduce you, to memory as me. That's such a peculiar word choice. It's not just missing past, it's saying, this past is mine, it's lawful for me, it shapes me just as much today's struggles. That leads to his point that the autobiographical self isn't just psychological, it's historical, contains bits of places, times, injuries, even aspirations. Now, I realize this all probably abstract, memory, exile, history, private Walden, but let's bring it back to, if you feel out of place your job, or in your city or family conversation around dinner, maybe remembering what shaped you, curating your own inner, gives you little extra resilience. That's the kind of tangible insight this essay tries to offer. And okay, tiny ration here. Anyone else ever get super nostalgic for childhood cereals, even though you know they're kind, just sugar and nostalgia? There's be a word for that, right? Anyway, as always, I'm saying Siddiky has all the answers here. Academic work is about questioning, exploring, not giving us absolute truths. Maybe you find the mental Mayflower inspiring, or maybe it leaves you with more questions. Both are fair. For me, what sticks is a message of building and honoring your own inward sovereignty, especially in tough circumstances. Thanks so much for listening to In Depth with Academia. I'm Richard Price, and this sparked a few questions, or maybe even inspired you to build your own private Walden in some small way. See you next time.